We're in beautiful Sedona, Arizona with Subaru driving the new Crosstrek Wilderness.
And yes, we're going off-road. Well, first off, we traded in rainy Vancouver for sunny Arizona. That's a pretty good deal.
I'll take that any day of the week.
All right, so we're in the wilderness, but we're going to run through the other Crosstrek models. What's under the hood of these things?
A 2.5-liter four-cylinder engine matched to a CVT, 182 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. This engine is standard on the Wilderness model, and it's also available on the Onyx and Limited models in Canada and in the U.S. on the Sport and Limited trim. The
base trim, however, of the Crosstrek is a smaller 2-liter version of this four-cylinder engine, also with a CVT, 152 horsepower, and 145 pound-feet of torque. Of course, it's a Subaru, standard all-wheel drive. So we have done a whole separate video on the regular Crosstrek, and I'll put the link here. It's an excellent video. Watch it after this one. Right now, we're going to get into what do you get? What are the key standard features of this Wilderness?
The Wilderness comes with an 11.6-inch touchscreen, wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, a 4.2-inch multi-information display, heated steering wheel, heated front seats, 10-way power driver seat with lumbar support, 4-way adjustable manual passenger seat, wireless charger, 10-speaker Harman Kardon sound system, and EyeSight driver assist technology.
But we're in the U.S. Does it change, Andrea? What do we have to put it in?
You got to put it in S for subscribe, and if you can hit that notification bell, you'll be notified when all of our videos drop, and then you can watch them.
And we do this, the couple car review twice a week. The first one drops on Wednesday.
We put another one out on Saturday.
So make sure to like and subscribe, but also follow along on Instagram. You'll find out halfway through why to get a question in, and for that, it's Motormouth_Andrea. For me, it's Motormouth_Auto, and the links are below the like button. So Subaru as a brand is all about their all-wheel drive system, and their utilities have great ground clearance. All of them have that. So they take an already capable Crosstrek and they turn it into a Wilderness. How's it different?
Well, this has a retuned suspension. It also has an upgraded CVT with a CVT oil cooler. So this way it can tow more. This tows up to 3,500 pounds. So that's a substantial difference from the 1,500 that the regular Crosstrek tows.
But as an example, to tow 3,500 pounds in a smaller utility, you would actually have to go up into the compact class. So, for example, the RAV4 Trail is 3,500 pounds. So that's pretty good for a smaller utility like this.
Yeah, that's pretty special for the subcompact class to have something like this tow so much. This Wilderness model also comes standard with dual function X mode. The engine features a lower final drive ratio for improved low-speed climbing, up to a 38-degree grade, and a stronger rear differential. It also has an enlarged radiator and radiator fan.
So they already have 220 millimeters of ground clearance on the Crosstrek. That's already quite substantial, especially when you compare it to the other subcompacts. They give you 15 millimeters more on this model for off-road, stuff like that.
So the regular Crosstrek is 8.7 inches of ground clearance, and this Wilderness model, 9.3 inches. And now we're in the Wilderness model. We were originally in the Limited top trim, and that extra ground clearance when you're on the road really doesn't affect the handling or drivability of the Wilderness model. I'm actually really impressed with how well this does on-road. We have got our off-road segment coming up in a little bit, so we'll compare the two. I do find that the all-terrain tires on this are a little bit louder than, of course, the tires that are on the Limited model.
But we're rolling on the Yokohama Geolander tires, and we've driven on these tires in the Outback Wilderness. So these are 17-inch wheels with the Geolander tires, and I'm quite impressed with the quality of on-road. So I think you have to like this look. I think somebody that is into this will really love it, and those that are not into it will go, what's that all about? Because they certainly like their cladding at Subaru, and they've put a whole bunch down the side and over the wheel arches. Of course, that's functional if you're going to go bushwhacking, but does it make it a better looking car? I'm not quite sure about that.
Yeah, I mean, looks are subjective, aren't they? Some people think Subaru models are beautiful, and they absolutely love them. Others not so much. I have to say, of all the Wilderness models, I think I like the Crosstrek the best.
I think
it kind of suits it.
It's more cohesive. I think as they've gone along, they've realized that I think the Outback Wilderness is not my favorite, but I think this one, it looks good. And what do you think about this sort of coppery bronze accents on it? I kind of wonder, it would be nice if they offered it with other colors. Do you like it though?
I don't mind it. I don't mind the copper accents. I think that especially this color blue or the green with the black cladding and then the copper accents, I think it really suits it. This Wilderness model also comes with black roof rails, an anti-glare hood design, standard LED steering responsive headlights, LED combination taillights, LED fog lights, and a temporary spare tire. This model can handle 700 pounds of static load for bikes or even a rooftop tent. It also has extra tie-down points to provide even more cargo hauling versatility.
The only way you really notice that you're in this Wilderness model on the inside is some of those copper accents carry into the interior, especially on the steering wheel. You see it here, and the piping on the seats. And the other thing you notice is they have these wipe-down seats that are all weather, right?
And I think if you're in and out of a muddy area, it's just easy to wipe down. And also the all-weather floor mats with the Wilderness logo are easy to wash and clean. And you also have a Wilderness cargo lining in the back.
You get Wilderness in the headrest. I guess they do Wilderness it up a little bit.
They do Wilderness it up for sure. So Subaru made changes to the Crosstrek for 2024 with the comfort level of the seats, and that there is an improvement. We do find them to be a little bit firm, so you have to try them for yourselves because everyone has a different comfort level.
You know what, we haven't driven this since the spring, and I said to Andrew as soon as I got in it, I said, you know what, we've driven a lot of the subcompact competition. This holds up really well compared to those. The materials, it's broken up. Even though this is gray and black on the inside, there's different levels of materials. I like the new center console. It's very pleasing, and the big real estate in the screen, I think, is welcomed by a lot of people.
The storage is pretty good in here as well. You'll find that it's adequate for a subcompact vehicle.
So this is a subcompact utility, and even if you have that in mind, it's actually pretty good in the back seat, and it's comfortable as well. How does it stack up?
Comparing the Crosstrek to other competitors like the Jeep Compass, the Subaru offers 42.9 inches of front row legroom, which is an inch more than the Jeep. Second row legroom at 36.5 inches falls short to the Compass by almost 2 inches.
And there is no power liftgate on the Crosstrek on any trim, but what's nice about this model is under the floor is a beauty, a real spare tire.
Cargo space behind the second row at 19.9 cubic feet, and overall cargo space at 54.7 cubic feet is a little bit smaller than the Compass.
So we are heading to the off-road area, but right now, your questions.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Wouldn't the Forester Wilderness just be a better buy?
Listen, it comes down to budget. The reason why they have this and then they have the Forester and then they have the Outback, it depends on your budget and what you're going to use it for.
Yeah, it's really a grade walk. Certainly, the Forester is a bigger vehicle. So if you want something that is more spacious, then I think you're already going to be looking at the Forester anyway. This is kind of like a fun, subcompact, rugged, capable Wilderness model, and it's $3,000 less money than the Forester.
You could talk me into a Forester because of one key thing, power liftgate. I love me a power liftgate. Once you've had a power liftgate, it's hard to go back, but that's one thing you might want.
Not sure why I find this plastic-clad, CVT-propelled, strange little car so appealing. I look forward to both of your thoughts. I'm 6'4". Can Zach find a comfortable driving position? Thanks for your continued great work. Thank you.
Well, in a sea of sameness, where everything is homogenized these days, and everything kind of looks the same, and it's boring out there sometimes in the car business. It's kind of nice to have a brand that has been known for doing quirky cars to come up with a car that's maybe a little quirky.
Yeah.
And someone might just want it because they don't want to be seen driving everything else.
And how is your seating position?
Oh, mine fine. Okay, I'm going to put it...
Zach is 6 feet tall.
But
You're 6'4".
But I have the torso of a giant. I have the torso of someone's like 6'2", probably.
Yeah.
And I still got lots of room. You're fine. You'd fit.
You're fine. Look at all that space.
Hey, and if you don't like it, you can always do what the last guy says. Get a Forester.
I would just stick with the base or premium models. The basic bones are there. Well, that's what Subaru said in the presentation. There is a Crosstrek model for everyone with different budgets, but they're all capable.
Well, that's the thing. We mentioned at the very beginning, what is the brand built around? It's built around their all-wheel drive system. All utilities from Subaru have much better ground clearance than a lot of their competition, and you get that on all trims. And so you could make an argument. You could even go, I'll take you out and down the rabbit hole a little bit. You could even go for an Impreza. An Impreza is based on this platform. It doesn't have the ground clearance, but that too has the all-wheel drive system and the same engine.
And a little less money for the Impreza. But you know, for those who may never take this off-roading but are dealing with a lot of snow in the winter, you will definitely appreciate the ground clearance of the Wilderness model and the regular Crosstrek.
These are hugely popular in Quebec, hugely popular in Vermont, New England, for places that get a lot of snow. I can see it. And now it's time for our hot topic. What's this one, Andrea?
Is the Wilderness model really that capable, or is it just a styling exercise? So we've done the off-road portion of the drive event with the Crosstrek Wilderness, and now we're on the gravel road.
Yeah, and this is indicative of what a lot of people will use this for. Going to the cottage, the ski chalet, a lot of washboard on this road. And the reason why we're not filming this in the hardest core part of the off-road is this is a national park, and no filming for you. You're not allowed to film in the park. You get a fine. We were at an event once where somebody did get a fine, and I don't want that. Do you want that?
No, I don't want any fines. I do not want.
So to the question, is this a capable off-roader? Well, you have to remember, off-roading is a whole different set of skills and an attitude from what you're using on road. You do not go fast when you go off-road. In fact, you go at crawling speeds, under 5 kilometers an hour or 3 or 4 miles an hour. That's it. So you don't need a lot of power. What you need, and what this has, is clearance. You've got extra ground clearance and better approach and departure angles, which this model has. So check all the boxes, and we were shocked, Andrea, at what it could actually go over.
Yeah, it's quite incredible. You've got this, first off, the dual function X mode. You've got hill descent. You also have a wonderful all-wheel drive system in this Crosstrek. And I think that in the end, whether you do take it off-roading and you have more challenging things to go over, large boulders, this can handle it. What I would use it for, because I love the ground clearance, whether I get the regular Crosstrek or I get this one with 9.3 inches, is for these kinds of roads. They just would make me feel more comfortable, and snow.
And deep snow.
And I have to say, on this road, these all-terrain tires are excellent.
All right, we're going to get into the vital stats, the things you want to know. The price is an important one, fuel economy, and more.
Let's start with pricing. We'll do Canada first and then move on to the US. The base model with the 2-liter engine starts at just over $31,500, and the most expensive model with the 2.5-liter is the Wilderness, priced at just over $40,500. In the US, the base model starts at just over $25,000, and the Wilderness is just over $32,000.
Here's the fuel economy for this 2.5-liter 4-cylinder. 8.8 liters per 100 kilometers in the city, 7 on the highway. That's 26 miles per gallon in the city, 33 on the highway. As we mentioned, this Wilderness can tow 3,500 pounds. Subaru offers a warranty of 3 years, 60,000 kilometers, or 36,000 miles. So you're thinking of getting a smaller utility that does have some extra off-road capability. What else can you choose?
For your consideration, 4 vehicles for you to consider.
Up first is a Jeep Renegade Trailhawk with a 1.3-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, 177 horsepower, and a starting price of just over $41,000.
Next is the Ford Bronco Sport Badlands with a 2-liter EcoBoost, an impressive 250 horsepower, but it's expensive, a starting price of $48,500.
The Jeep Compass Trailhawk with a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder, 200 horsepower, and a starting price just over $44,000.
Up next is the RAV4 Trail or Adventure in the U.S. with a 2.5-liter 4-cylinder engine, 203 horsepower, and a starting price of roughly $43,500.
So there are 4 off-road capable SUVs for you to consider.
Lightning round, two things we like to see improved.
I really like how this Crosstrek gives you a broader scope of capability.
I like the way driving off-road makes Andrea's voice go, ah.
What I'd like is a power passenger seat because I am paying a good chunk of money for this wilderness model.
And I know it's not going to be handy for off-roading, but I want a power lift gate in a Crosstrek. Yes. One of them, anyway.
Capable, rugged, and quiet.
But what about the Crosstrek, Andrea? All right, this isn't for everybody, but if you really need the capability, it's good to know it's there.